Hey, everybody! For you, podcast number 14. Today's podcast is titled "Psycho Puppy." Hey, everybody! Welcome to this edition of your weekly List Life Network podcast. I'm Dr. Pete Lardy, and this is the List Life Network podcast, where we flesh out limitations that are preventing you from your goals and living the life that you deserve. This podcast is born out of the scripture in Ephesians 3 reads, "Now to him who is able to do immeasurably more than all we ask or imagine, according to his power that is at work within us." And I want to help you recognize and tap into that limitless power that is at work within you. And today's episode is titled "Psycho Puppy." So I have 5 points again for you that is generated out of this title from a fun addition to our family. We have a new puppy named Willow. It all began back when my wife, daughter, have been running for months, being wanted a puppy, all different breeds, and kind of come across the selection list. But anyway, the boys went off to college, and that was the final straw. They missed the boys so badly. The house was empty, and my wife said, it'll really help our daughter to deal with not having her brothers anymore if we could get a puppy. And so we went on search, and we finally landed little Willow, who's a golden retriever puppy, and she's very spirited and lots of energy, and she's very puppy-esque in everything that she does, and she's a lot of fun. I also have another dog, Maya, in our house, who is a 14-and-a-half-year-old golden retriever that doesn't think much of the puppy, but either way, we've got this great addition to and from this edition, I've got some topics I want to discuss with you, because they deal with limitations that get in the way of us living our best life and eking out the best that we have inside of all of them. The first topic, or the first up for discussion, is a concept that I coined from experience with a lot of different people and as a service provider, and that is the concept of initial enthusiasm. So number one is initial enthusiasm, and this is the situation where somebody's really excited in the beginning about that they're ready to embark upon, and they're all about it, and after a few weeks, maybe days, maybe even a couple of months, the enthusiasm has long since worn off, and now we're in a situation where it's not great anymore. The newness is, and we're not so committed. We're not so high-spirited about it, and the consistency falls off. The desire falls off, and things start to wane, and that can happen in a lot of different situations. One of my colleagues and friends, his father owned a restaurant business. Whenever he hired some, they could start off really great, and would come up to him and, I really like the new hire. Hey, and his comment was, a new broom always clean. Let's see how she's doing in 90 days. And sure enough, a lot of times, if 90 days rolled around and they're doing great, he'd have to send them down the road, and they'd be fired. But if you made that 90-day mark, still doing great and still enthusiastic and still really pulling your weight, you had a place, and he would take great care of you as an employer. So same concept for all of us. We can oftentimes embark on a new project, a new goal with initial enthusiasm, but be aware of that. Are you going to be as enthusiastic and still as committed 90 days in? If you are, then you are on way to great success. All right. Point 2, step over. Wow, this is a big one. Step issues. So a mentor of once talked about step over issues, and it reminds me of the puppy. So when you're training a puppy, oftentimes they don't know where to go to the bathroom. They're not sure indoors or outdoors. But imagine if the puppy went into your room and went to the bathroom. Number 2, right? And sounds awful, doesn't it? Yeah. And imagine if my daughter and my wife, who really wanted this puppy, really weren't too excited about cleaning it. So maybe they pretended it wasn't even there. Oh, I didn't even see it there. Oh, I couldn't even smell it. And they're so stubborn about ignoring the issue that it stayed there. And I was so angry about it that I never said anything either. And I was pretend it was either, just to see how long will before somebody cleans. Do you know anybody like that that's super stubborn and could really let that go? Well, oftentimes that's what step over is. We just keep stepping over that environment and pretending these issues don't exist, and therefore they always remain. And soon enough, they be petrified, just like a piece of furniture in your living room. If that's a metaphor for that. Yeah, there's many issues that you don't bring to light. Embarrassed about it, or maybe you don't want to admit it, or you can't humble yourself to admit maybe something where you're good at it, and you need to find somebody to either train you up better, or maybe you need to just hire or find somebody to help you with it. People just have that difficulty barrier because you don't really see it. You bought into it so much that you're continually stepping over that you just believe it's a problem anymore. It's not a big deal. That's not the causative factor why we're not growing, why things are moving in the right direction. Okay, and that brings us to point number 3. And I'm really big about training a dog to be obedient, because I find that obedience are a lot more fun to be. Nobody likes a dog that jumps all over their clothes and licks them and bites at everything. I mean, that's obnoxious. Or a dog that doesn't come when they're called, but you love to see it. It's really well trained. A pet that follows commands and just behave. We all love that. So. And point number 3 is teachability index. And that's a point that you have to look at yourself. Our teachability index is can measure like a scale or a barometer of how teachable are you. Are you that person that they know it all about a topic? Or that's a low teachability index moment. If you're a know-it-all, somebody that is like open to learning time, very humble, very concerned. And I think about a colleague of mine who's interviewed lots of different associates in his days, and he's always found the success that he's had with hiring a good associate doctor has always been one that revered the senior doctor. If they had revere for the senior and really wanted to learn everything about them, they turned out to be great associate doctor, and they moved really high up in the ranks. Versus ones that kind of came in with attitudes that they knew it all already. Just they didn't really work out well because they had big egos, right? So ego at the door. Remain, always be open. That's a high teachability index. So that's where you want to be. Point number 4, a hallmark of somebody that is a high achiever here. And this is a phrase I coined called mistake amnesia. And that is just being afraid to make mistakes. And if you do mistakes, forget about them very quickly. Almost like you have amnesia. Be more focused on solving the problem rather than focus on making the mistake. Because you've got to make mistakes in order to grow. There's no way around it. If you're not making mistakes, if you're not new things, you're never going to make great leaps in growth without a few cookies, right? You're never going to become a great baker without burning a few. Yes, we have everything to be perfect all the way through our learning experience and our growth experience. It's not realistic. It's not the way you've got to be willing to make mistakes, take some risks, and be ready to recover. Figure out how to fix the mistake to make it. Don't on it. Don't get down on yourself, but really focus on the solution and not the you made the mistake. We're when people are super conscientious about being judged because they screwed up, they're going to be less likely to try something, less likely to go out on the limb and take a risk or try something that could possibly produce even better result. So your creativity gets stifled when you're too concerned being judged for trying different or something new. So mistake amnesia is a hallmark of somebody that is a fast learner, a fast grower. Okay. Point 5. We're already ready to point 5, and this is very, very puppy-esque. Okay, for our psyche that likes to charge around the house, super energetic, wags her tail like crazy against the furniture, doorways and stuff. And is persistent, positive. That is point number 5. And that puppy, no matter what, you throw it down on the ground, you push her, you're playing rough with it. It just needs to keep coming back with that tail wagging. Happy as can be, super excited, high energy, and that is certainly the hallmark of somebody that is a high achiever, a professional. And I've often heard it say that the difference between a professional and an amateur, an amateur is really great most every single day. I mean, they're at their best most every day. But a professional is at their peak and at their best every single day. Not most every single, but every single day. So I think about that with positivity. You can have off day, but those are when things. It's not easy to be positive, not easy to have zeal and enthusiasm, but those are the days where if you can do it. Those that greatness is made. So think about how that ties into everything in your own life, because these things can be very easily corrected, and they can really take away a lot of the limitations that you're experiencing in your own personal growth and your own health, whatever you're trying to achieve. And that's really what I want for anybody that's listening to this podcast, is to get the most out of your life. Life is only so long, and I want you to get out of it. So that's all for this week's your weekly Limitless Life Network podcast. Tune in each and every week to stay connected, be inspired, and keep toward your best life by way your limitations.